Madame, Monsieur, bonsoir et bienvenue à ce rendez-vous d'information bilingue sur Spectrum Télévision. Il est 20h, c'est la même heure à Ndunge. C'est dans le département du Mongo, région du littoral. Voici quelques articulations de ce journal. Élection présidentielle 2018 par deux centres et bureaux de vote à la présidence et dans les chefferies. L'annonce a été faite hier à Yaoundé lors d'une conférence de presse présidée par le directeur adjoint de l'ECAM, Abdoul Karimou. Une annonce qui intervient alors au moment où la classe politique de l'opposition avait déjà exprimé sa désapprobation. Pitan Saucier nous en dira davantage dans ce reportage. Également dans ce journal ce soir, à suivre l'arrestation à Limbé ce jour d'une bande de trafiquants de gaz ou d'essence frélatés, tous de nationalité nigériane. On en saura donc davantage dans un court instant. Ouvrons ce journal en langue anglaise et c'est une signature de Darling Fejir. Bonsoir, Darling.
Good evening, Moto televiewers. Good evening and thanks for joining us on this third edition of the Weekend Bilingual Newscast on STV. October 7 presidential elections polling stations will not be located at the presidency and in-chief palaces. Military barracks, however, will host polling stations come October 7, 2018. The information from Elections Cameroon follows criticisms from some political parties over the location of some polling stations in the country. Peter Susi with the details.
Elections Cameroon ELECAM has revealed that polling stations in the October 7 presidential elections will not be placed at the presidency of the Republic and palaces of traditional rulers. The clarification was made Friday by the Deputy Managing Director of ELECAM, Abdoul Karimou, at a press conference in Yaoundé. Some opposition political parties had earlier ordered ELECAM to remove polling stations from the presidency, military barracks and traditional palaces. In a request, the SDF, for example, urged ELECAM to curb electoral fraud by getting rid of these polling stations in the center and littoral regions, citing Article 96 of the Electoral Code. However, polling stations will be located at military barracks as the senior election official argues that the law does not forbid the planting of polling stations in such locations. The statement has not been too convincing for some political actors who believe that soldiers will not be free to exercise their voting rights. With the screening of the voter register complete in 6 regions in the country, Abdoul Karimou remains upbeat that concrete measures are being taken to ensure a hitch-free elections in the restive Northwest and Southwest regions.
S'approprier donc le concept définition, enjeux et procédures, voire techniques électorales dans le domaine de l'observation. C'est l'objectif d'un atelier de formation ouvert ce vendredi, ici même à Douala, à l'intention des observatrices et observateurs de violences électorales. Orient donc nous en dit davantage.
Ce sont plusieurs ateliers qui ont pour objectif renforcer les connaissances et les capacités des membres des organisations de la société civile afin que ceux-ci soient dotés d'outils et de techniques essentielles et indispensables pour une observation électorale crédible et paisible.
Les observatrices et observateurs qui sont formés ont une mission d'éducation, une mission de veille et une mission d'alerte. Il est question, dès la sortie de cet atelier, de commencer à éduquer les populations sur la nécessité de préserver la paix, sur la nécessité de prendre des initiatives en faveur de la paix et sur la nécessité même de dénoncer. Parce que quand plus on dénonce, mieux des actions sont prises en avant.
La prévention de ces violences électorales se fera à travers la salle de veille et d'alerte des femmes.
C'est un outil de veille, c'est un outil d'alerte précoce qui donne aux femmes un rôle prépondérant dans la conduite des élections pacifiques. La salle de veille et d'alerte permet aux femmes de prendre et de mener des actions avant, pendant et après les élections, en vue de prévenir les violences. Il est question avant de pouvoir éduquer, de pouvoir prendre des initiatives en faveur de la paix, mais surtout de veiller, d'observer et d'alerter.
Pour ces formations, la cible est les jeunes et les femmes en particulier.
Comme vous le savez, les Nations Unies ont décidé désormais de s'appuyer sur la femme pour résoudre les conflits à travers le monde. Parce qu'en réalité, plusieurs études ont prouvé notamment que les femmes qui vont résoudre des problèmes, des conflits dans le monde parviennent facilement à mener les différents belligérants ou alors les différents acteurs autour de la table et à trouver du moins un consensus. Vous vous souvenez tout récemment qu'il y a eu tout un reportage sur ces femmes qui sont engagées dans les différents fronts des casques bleus. Et vous avez remarqué que les femmes sur qui le reportage était davantage basé étaient des femmes qui avaient prouvé leur capacité à venir à bout de certains conflits, à ramener certaines personnes belliqueuses, par exemple, à la raison et à soi justement un consensus autour des différents belligérants.
Organisé par la Women International League for Peace and Freedom Cameroun, l'atelier de 2 jours de formation des observatrices et observateurs des violences électorales, ouvert ce vendredi 10 août 2018 à Douala, a planché sur plusieurs modules avec un accent sur les questions électorales au Cameroun, l'approche genre, les outils permettant l'observation pendant la période électorale.
Franklin Ndifo Afangwi, Prophet Frank, as he is often called, is the first man of God to contest for Cameroon's presidential seat. He is among the 9 candidates in the October 7 presidential elections. Who is he and what are his motivations? Details with our reporter, Henry Wana.
Ndifo Afangwi Franklin is his name, but also known as Prophet Frank of the Kingship International Ministry, flag bearer of the National Movement of Cameroon Citizens, MCNC. He is among those gunning for the top job at Etudi. The then young Franklin Afangwi was a computer engineer going about his business before the Lord whisked him off and showed him a new direction to follow, a call he answered genuinely in 2010 and founded the Kingship Ministry, and since then, the anointed man of God has been making waves in Cameroon and beyond. As regards his take on the bridge between politics and faith, Prophet Frank believes that politics is from God, but man have been using it for selfish interests and therefore has painted it black in such a way that many Christians think a man of God cannot become a politician. Perhaps it explains why God has decided to use him this year to change that perception. However, Ndifo Franklin, being a novice in the political spectrum of Cameroon, will be counting a lot on support of Christians, well-wishers and Cameroonians who may be charmed by his vision for this great nation. For sure, it is the very first time a man of God is contesting for the presidential seat. Thus, observers are no doubt anxiously waiting to see the outcome of October 7 polls. The young presidential candidate, who clocked 38 on November 12 this year, is confident that God, who told him to stand for the election, will certainly see him through. After all, his ministry is kingship, an indication of royalty and leadership.
We remain in politics, but this time we take you over to the Northwest region, where the population are hopeful as far as they say 3 English-speaking Cameroonians are amongst the 9 candidates gunning for Etudi come October 7, 2018. Details within the following report.
With presidential elections slated for October 7th and with 9 candidates to take part, out of these 9 candidates, 3 are Anglophones. According to some Bamenda city dwellers, this is what they believe would happen if these 3 Anglophone presidential candidates come together.
I personally think that it's time that the Anglophones who have successfully reached this level of selection to have actually passed through that stage, they should borrow from the Nigerian model. President Buhari is a president of Nigeria today because he benefited from the political alliances. And if my memory is not failing me, I think that this is the first time that 3 presidential candidates are coming from this linguistic background. We are talking here of English expression. And I think that for being gentlemanly, as an Anglophone is always described, they should pull together and try to see if they can build a rally behind one person to see how they can unseat the incumbent. I think that would be good.
We have Joshua Osi, Keremuna, and Prophet Frank Ndifo. This is the best time they should reflect as one person and come together. A coalition would be best. I think that it's time we borrow other models which have worked in other countries. I'm very positive that an Anglophone can be president. But my worry at this level should be the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, because we would have had more persons to stand behind these three candidates if they came together as one.
Who are these Anglophones? Because as at now, you're talking of O.C. Joshua, Akere Muna, and Prophet Frank. The three of them, they don't have the following of the entire nation, because we are talking about a presidential election, and they need the backing of all the other candidates. If they were to come as one, bring up one candidate, be it Francophone or Anglophone, who has a good program for a transitional government, this is what we should be talking about, and the proper elections should take place in 2022.
While Cameroonians are waiting to go elect their president on October 7th, campaigns will take off any moment from now.
Parlons de toute autre chose à présent, mais en bref, affaire de l'exécution sommaire des femmes et enfants dans la région de l'extrême nord du Cameroun. Le ministre de la Communication et porte-parole du gouvernement, Issa Chiromar, a indiqué dans une adresse à l'attention de l'opinion publique que l'enquête ouverte sur instruction du chef de l'État, chef des armées, a permis de mettre aux arrêts 6 militaires de l'armée camerounaise. Il s'agit des soldats Ghislain Tietcheu, Féou, Jonathan Jacobay Manassé et Barnabas Donossou. Les caporaux Didier Jano Godway et Mana et Sanga, le sergent Hilaire Syriac Bit-Yala et le lieutenant de vaisseau Étienne Fobassou. Ils sont soupçonnés d'être les auteurs ou complices des exécutions sommaires des femmes et enfants au fond de la guerre contre Boko Haram dans la région de l'extrême nord du Cameroun. La Suisse est avec vous, Darling Fedio.
Yes, Nassis, like mentioned earlier in our headlines, 300 drums of fuel have been impounded in Limbe, southwest region. This illicit petrol, confiscated from some Nigerian illegal businessmen, have been transferred to the Limbe Port Authority, and severe sanctions await the perpetrators. Details with Clarice Corey.
These are some 300 drums of 200 liters each of petrol that have been impounded by the Maritime Navy from a group of 9 illegal Nigerian persons as they struggle to smuggle the product into the country for sales, but were seized and brought at the Port Authority of Limbe. Colonel Kad Bernard paints a picture on the timely intervention of the Navy.
Today in the morning, exactly during the night, in the north part of our territorial sea, the boat was seized, and the Navy ship was who arrested the ship, brought it here to more competent authorities. That is what I can say about the ship and what is inside.
The impounded petrol product that have been seized and handed over to competent authorities, Mr. Inchari Jerome, Regional Chief of Service on Petroleum Product at the Southwest Regional Delegation of Water Resources and Energy, outlined some of the health disadvantages of poor handling of petrol product, which is made up of toxic substances.
The product in question is diesel. We have some elements that are in, like maybe sometimes some nitrogen, sulfur, sometimes when it is poorly burned, you can have carbon monoxide, and so on as well. A number of missing gases are put there. When people take them, inhale them, it can lead to things like cancer of the skin sometimes.
He further explains the fate of the impounded products.
The commission is going to look at the products to verify the quality of the product. And if it proves that the quality is good, we are going to proceed to an auction sale of the product, and the auction sale is done only to licensed petroleum distributors.
Meanwhile, the Maritime Navy has promised not to relent its efforts, but to continue bringing to book perpetrators of such illegal acts to face the law.
Vous l'avez bien suivi, des trafiquants d'essence, tous des nationalités nigérianes, ont donc été mis aux arrêts à Limbi. Ces derniers, qui en ont d'ailleurs l'habitude d'essayer de faire sortir cette essence du Nigeria pour le vendre au Cameroun. Celui qui a mené à bon escient cette action, il s'agit du colonel Can Bernard qui s'exprime en langue française au micro de Spectrum Télévision. Nous l'écoutons.
De 7h45 dans une zone d'intérêt stratégique, économique stratégique au niveau du nord de nos côtes. C'est un champ pétrolier, Voilà. Donc la pirogue s'étant retrouvée là où il ne fallait pas, a été arraisonnée. Et en mer, on ne peut pas faire un certain type d'action. Lorsqu'on est un commandant de bateau, donc c'est pourquoi vu que le bateau présentait certaines anomalies, notamment sa cargaison ne présentait aucun papier et avait 9 personnes apparemment qui ne sont pas d'origine camerounaise à bord. Tout cela concourt au fait que la hiérarchie a décidé qu'on conduise, donc on déroute le bateau vers le port le plus proche, comme ça a toujours été le cas. La première constatation est de ce qui a été recueilli du responsable de la pirogue. Il parle de 300 fûts de 200 litres. Donc, nous, ce qui se passe, c'est que nous assistons, comme il est de coutume, à la décharge de la cargaison. Ce n'est qu'après la décharge qu'on va infirmer ou confirmer le nombre de 300 ou plus qui a déjà été signalé. Donc ça peut aussi être qu'on découvre des effets de contrebande à l'intérieur, parce que avec l'instabilité avérée, comme je disais tantôt dans l'Interland, il n'est pas exclu qu'en dessous se trouvent des choses pas du tout orthodoxes qui pourraient transiter de la provenance de la dite pirogue qui vient du Nigeria, voisin, n'est-ce pas, et transiter pour arriver à être débarqué dans nos côtes.
La coordination des jeunes élites de la Mefouya Kono récompense ses élèves. Environ 250 de ce département administratif recevront des prix à l'occasion de la 3e édition des jeunes de l'excellence parrainée par Gaston Elundouf et Somba les 10 et 11 août 2018. On fait le point dans ce reportage.
Le développement du Cameroun passe aussi par sa jeunesse. La coordination des jeunes élites de la Mefouya Kono l'a compris. Pour matérialiser cette conception, la COGEMAC récompense chaque année les meilleurs élèves de tous les 35 établissements de l'enseignement secondaire que compte ce département.
Nous avons aujourd'hui une jeunesse scolaire qui est dérangée par les mots tels que la consommation du tramol, consommer la drogue, ça n'épargne pas les écoles de la Mefouya Kono. Donc si nous avons pu détacher des jeunes qui sont sortis premiers de classe, qui peuvent être un peu les relais auprès des autres, en disant voilà, les aînés pensent à nous quand nous travaillons bien à l'école, essayer d'abandonner les actes de déviance pour nous rejoindre dans le travail scolaire. C'est à ça que nous voulons amener nos jeunes frères à travers cette cérémonie d'excellence.
Un calendrier spécial est prévu à cet effet pour permettre aux jeunes de la dite localité de renforcer leurs liens de fraternité et de promouvoir leur plein épanouissement dans la solidarité. Ça commence le vendredi par le séminaire atelier portant sur le thème qui est la jeunesse de la Mefouya Kono au cœur du développement et pour l'émergence du Cameroun. Donc, il s'agit de redéfinir la place et les actions que la jeunesse de la Mefouya Kono va mettre en œuvre pour pouvoir aider le gouvernement, l'État du Cameroun pour atteindre l'émergence. Et comme le docteur scientifique a dit, ce n'est pas un développement à 2 vitesses. Nous sommes dans un cadre global, c'est pour ça qu'on s'inscrit dans le cadre de l'émergence du Cameroun. Les journées de l'excellence scolaire de la Mefouya Kono est parrainée par Gaston Elundouf Somba, le ministre de l'Eau et de l'Énergie.
We stay in education and this chief town of Meme Division in the Southwest region, where book vendors are lamenting poor or no sales of textbooks a few weeks to the official start of the 2018-2019 school year. They complain that parents are showing no interest as far as back-to-school preparations are concerned. Details with Daniel Aneba.
Frustrated over the lack of interest shown by parents and their children towards buying books in view of the 2018/2019 academic year, book vendors and more especially second-hand ones have decried the total refusal by the population of Kumba to purchase books 3 weeks to the start of the academic year. Visiting some major second-hand book sales points in Kumba, this area in previous years used to be very busy with parents rushing to buy and exchange old books for their children. The situation this year is, however, different, as most vendors have not only closed their sales points but have equally transformed them into other businesses in order to survive the difficult period they are facing.
The books issue, everything is finished. Yes, everything is finished. So this is my another business. I just to keep the family going. I sell drugs. This is a traditional herbal medicine.
Speaking to some vendors, they disclosed that all hope is lost since the academic year is fast approaching with no sales registered so far.
We are not sure that school will go this year. But if school was to start, then we have already been started. Exchange, we have been doing exchange for money, but now, up to now, no parent is coming. So we are still looking how the situation will look towards the end.
They further hold the prevailing crisis in the region responsible, as no parent is willing to expose his or her child to danger.
The situation of Northern and Southwest, we are not sure that school is good. The problem of Northern and Southwest, we are not sure that school can go in other zones, all the Francophone zones, but in Northern and Southwest, we are not sure. So we are still looking.
Meantime, most vendors now operate new petite businesses beside their book sales points, while others have decided to close their sales points and engage in other businesses in order to sustain their families during this period.
Note, the mortal remains of Reverend Father Alexander Nungi-Sob have been laid to rest at the Bishop Hogan College in Boya. That was yesterday. The Catholic leader was murdered in Moyuka in the Southwest region on the 20th of July 2018. Details with Pelagie Ekwenyi.
Lying in this casket is 45 years old Reverend Father Alexander Sob, who passed away on the 20th of July 2018 in Moyuka, a locality found within the Southwest region. In this funeral mass at Regional Baptist College, Small Support in Boya, it was alleged that Reverend Father Sob was brutally murdered and wasn't shot by a stray bullet, as others claim.
Father's body received 2 bullets on either side of the chest, just around the nipple of his breast. This means that the bullets were shot either by one person or by 2 persons of the same height. The church is interested to know the person who killed Father. Because of that, a case has been established. The judicial police have already started the proceedings. We pray that we know the victim so that justice may be done.
Reacting to the death of this young priest is the chief shepherd of the Boya Diocese, His Lordship Bishop Emmanuel Bushu.
You can't keep those who have done harm to you in your heart. You too will not be agreeable with him, and so you will not be pleasing to him. So we just have to pray for them, and that's what they need more than ourselves. Pray for those who have done this harm, that they have the peace that God is giving. They don't have peace in their hearts, and that they to have the courage to live the very difficult situation that has been created by the murder of Alex.
It should be recalled that the Reverend Father was ordained a priest in 2005 and has served the Catholic Church in different capacities until his sudden death, while serving as a parish priest in Sacred Heart Parish, Bumaka. However, the bishop in his homily, drawn from the book of John chapter 14 verses 1 to 12, called on his faithfuls to pray for the soul of the late priest, while urging them to always prepare for death, because no one knows when it might come knocking.
May his soul rest in peace. Now we take you out of the country to get news with the VOA.
Samuel Towet has lived in the Masai Mara forest for 3 decades. But when the police arrived in early July, he says they destroyed his flour mill shop, which he depended on to provide for his 2 wives and 14 children.
The police arrived in a lorry and began to disperse people. If they found you, you were in trouble. You were beaten very badly.
Police deny such heavy-handed force was used when they began evicting about 12,000 settlers in the Masai Mara forest. This is not the first such eviction. Kenyan authorities say settlers have for decades encroached on this protected forest, occupying land illegally and threatening an ecology upon which all of East Africa depends.
Let the world realize the moment we look at the right of a few at the expense of the majority, which is actually trans-country, because we are talking about Egypt, we are talking about Tanzania, we are talking about, then that is the end of it. The climate change they are trying to stop will definitely overtake us.
The Mara Forest Complex is the source of multiple rivers that drain into Lake Victoria, the starting point of the River Nile, the world's longest river and ecological backbone for Egypt, Ethiopia and Sudan. But since the 1990s, as much as a quarter of the tree cover has been destroyed through illegal logging and settlements. The settlers say they paid for what they thought were title deeds to the land, but in many cases were sold fake documents.
Don't think the people you see came here for free. They came here because of Maasai. There is no way I would have left my farm in Bomet to live forcefully on someone else's land. It was sold to us.
But while authorities evict settlers to protect the forest, they offer no compensation and little effort to prosecute the landowners who sold them the fake titles. The current wave of evictions has revived deep political tensions between the displaced Kalenjin villagers and the Maasai community. John Diso for VOA News, Narok, Kenya.
Parlons à présent de sport avant de mettre un terme à ce journal, notamment des championnats du monde de volleyball masculin et féminin 2018 pour signaler que le Cameroun s'active après une première phase de préparation effectuée à Yaoundé. Les sélections féminines et masculines de volleyball se trouvent depuis plusieurs jours en Europe. Plusieurs matchs d'évaluation sont au programme de préparation de ces équipes. On fait le point avec Makeda Yotom.
L'équipe nationale de volleyball féminin se trouve actuellement en Europe, où elle poursuit sa préparation pour les prochains championnats du monde de cette discipline. Séances d'entraînement et matchs amicaux constituent le programme de préparation des volleyeuses. Après la France, elles se sont rendues mercredi dernier en Suisse pour disputer 2 matchs d'évaluation contre l'équipe nationale de ce pays. Jeudi d'ailleurs, la rencontre s'est soldée sur le score de 3-7-2 en faveur de la Suisse. La 18e édition des championnats du monde de volleyball féminin se dispute du 29 septembre au 20 octobre 2018 au Japon. Et à l'instar des filles, l'équipe nationale de volleyball version masculine se trouve elle aussi en Europe. C'est pour disputer une série de matchs amicaux préparatoires au championnat du monde de volleyball masculin. Après Cameroun-Suisse, Cameroun-Luxembourg et Cameroun-Arabie Saoudite, les volleyeurs affrontent la formation de Penn State le samedi 11 août, puis la Pologne le 18 août prochain. La phase finale des 19e championnats du monde de volleyball masculin se dispute du 10 au 28 septembre 2018 en Italie et en Bulgarie. La compétition va regrouper les 24 meilleures équipes mondiales du volleyball masculin, dont le Cameroun.
Vivement une meilleure prestation de nos sélections. Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est avec cette note de sport que nous mettons un terme à ce rendez-vous d'information bilingue sur Spectrum Télévision. On vous souhaite une excellente soirée, un excellent week-end. Bonsoir, Darlene Fedio.
Good evening, Assis. Splendid weekend to you. Ladies, gentlemen, televiewers, thanks very much for watching and stay blessed. Good night.